Now, what do you think of those three songs? They're classics, classics, classics. They're timeless. Let me tell you what you heard. Because, by the Dave Clark Five, which sold over 1 million copies, reached number 3 in the U.S. charts in August 65. But in England was the B-side of Can't You See That She's Mine? But Dave Clark decided to release it here, and that also became a hit. I think it scraped the top 50, I'm not sure. Also in the set was Thinking of You Baby, which our American audience may not know, but was a UK top 10 single in October 1963. And to conclude our little set there, Anywhere You Want It, which was from the Coast to Coast album, got to number 25 in the UK, was one of the early songs, if not the first, to use Echoplex, which is a sound effect which I think drove people insane over here. Was covered by Kiss, the Ramones, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, just to name 3. Was number 25 in the UK, number 14 in the US, and probably now looked at as being the ultimate song by the Dave Clark Five. And, I am going to, at this point, give you a little intro, because we have all the way from, where are you located today, sir? Are you in London?
No, I was born in London, but I've been living for the last nearly 50 years in the Lincolnshire countryside.
Okay.
Because we, although I'm a city boy born and bred, we always wanted to live in the country, and that's where we are.
All right, so let me tell you, this is Mr. Ron Ryan, who on September 2nd of this year just released a new album, Hootenanny Sings the Songs of Ron Ryan, which you're going to hear a little bit about later on. Ron has told us that he is responsible for writing those songs, okay, because Anywhere You Want It, Thinking of You Baby, also Mulberry Bush, which most of the American audience may not know, but if you go and you look and you really see, it was on Columbia, he's listed there as arranged by Dave Clark and Ron Ryan, and it was a Brit single. It was their third Brit single. So welcome, sir. I'm really glad to meet you. And obviously, you know there's interest in America because the Dave Clark Five were huge in America, as opposed to England, where they were successful. But there was a period of time when Dave Clark, for about 2 years, were more successful than the Rolling Stones. It was the Beatles, the Dave Clark Five, the Rolling Stones. So we've got to ask you, in the beginning of our interview, obviously some questions about Dave Clark. How did you meet Dave Clark?
Right. My brother, Mick Ryan, was in my band called the Walkers, not the Walker Brothers.
I was going to say, you're not going to tell me you were in the Walker Brothers.
No, we were called the Walkers, and that was before the Walkers, by the way. We had it first.
There you go.
Like I live near a city called Boston, which I believe you've got a Boston over there.
It's about 4 hours away from me right now.
Yeah, well, Boston's about 12 miles away from me, and
Okay.
I think that's... but getting back to Dave Clark Five, my brother played in my band. Dave Clark had a band that was very popular. We both played on the American US Air Force bases, and we done gigs together. And Dave saw how good my brother was and offered him a job in the Dave Clark Five. My brother said, well, I don't really want to leave you. And I said, look, he's got more better paid jobs than I have with my band. You'll be better off with him. You know, you'll make more money and you'll enjoy it better. You'll get better jobs than what we're doing. Because some of the jobs we were doing was in pubs and that. They could be rough in London, believe you me. Fights and everything, beer flying everywhere. And I said, go. You've got a good opportunity there, go. So he joined the Dave Clark Five as guitarist. He was too young to drive. So Dave used to come to my parents' house where we both lived, and he would pick my brother up. My brother was very vain, and he would spend a long time getting ready, so Dave would come a bit early because he knew what Mick was like, and I'll make him a cup of tea. We'd sit down and we would chat, and we got to be friends. And we done jobs together with his band and my band, and we just became friends. He didn't have many friends. I won't go into that. There was a reason. He didn't have many friends, and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, couldn't stand being in the same room as him. But I'm one of those people. If there's a stray dog, it latches onto me and follows me home because it knows I'm going to look after it, you know. I'm one of those people, if you like. So that's how we became friends. And he come to me once for a chat, and he said, I'm in trouble with losing my recording contract. And I said, well, the trouble is you're doing covers. You're not doing anything original. The Beatles are doing original songs. So he said, well, I don't know a songwriter. I said, well, I think I can write songs. And so I started writing songs for the Dave Clark 5.
Well, how did you write Because? And how did...
Right. This is an interesting story. The first song that got them noticed, really, was Mulberry Bush.
Yes.
It was the first one to get the band onto the British television.
And that was the third British single on Columbia.
Yeah. And it saved their contract because it was original. It didn't sell a lot, but it done enough to get them on television and get them quite well known. Then Mike Smith, inspired by Carl Perkins' song Glad All Over, wrote a song with the same title, Glad All Over, and wallop, they were away.
So was Mike Smith the prime writer of that song?
Yeah, well, no, they all wrote, actually. Not all wrote. Lenny and Den wrote, and Mike wrote. Rick didn't. And anyway...
How about Dave? Did Dave write?
Dave had it written. He had the band under contract. And then that contract... They didn't get an equal share of the money. They were on a salary. I won't tell you what it is, but I know what it is. They were on a salary. And also, it was written into that contract that any song any band member wrote that the band recorded would have to have Dave Clark as co-writer so that he could claim 50% of the song. And as far as I know, Dave never wrote a note of music or one word of lyrics in his life.
Ooh, okay. So
after Glad All Over, he comes to me and says, right, Mick, see...
I have to interrupt you because I told you I would, but was Mike Smith primary? Did he write most of those songs?
No, he wrote some of the songs. Lenny wrote some of the songs,
okay.
And Dennis wrote some of the songs.
But they didn't get credited for most. When you look at the American market, and I can only tell you the American market, every single, and there would be a single every 4 weeks and an album every 3 months. But all the songs, there would be occasionally a Lenny Davidson co-credit, especially on instrumentals. Yeah. But it would always be Dave Clark, Mike Smith, and there were songs that did really well over here. We played a series of them last week, that 19 Days, and really I've Got to Have a Reason, that were not big hits in England, but big hits over here. Was Mike writing those songs?
No, as I say, if you look at the titles, right. I think everybody knows. I don't think he co-wrote that. When I say co-wrote, if a song has got Smith Clark or Clark Smith, that was written by Mick Smith. Mike Smith.
Mike Smith.
If it's got Davison Clark, it was written by Davison. Clark never had a thing to do with writing it.
Got it. So every time we see Mike Smith, we know it was a Mike Smith composition.
Oh, yes.
That would 100%. Be the way to, yeah. Now,
100%.
Now, let me ask you this. How many songs do you think that you wrote for the Dave Clark 5?
Off the top of my head, I wrote Mulberry Bush, Doodah, which is a take on Stephen Foster's Camden Races. This is all off the top of my head. That's what I said. There's an interesting story behind that. That's what I said. I don't know if you've heard that one. No Time to Lose. Can I Trust You? Because...
Any Way You Want It.
Bits and pieces. Yeah, Any Way You Want It, Bits and Pieces, Thinking of You, Baby.
Right.
I think that's about it. There might be a couple of more, but all of the time.
Wow. So you really were turning these songs out for them. And
Yeah.
how did the process work? Did Dave turn up at your house?
Let me tell you this. You was asking about because, okay? Because it's an interesting story. Dave come to me, said, it's time for our next single, okay? I want you to write something, you see. So I wrote a song, and what would happen, I would phone Dave up when I wrote it, and I'm a very fast writer. I write mostly in my head, by the way. Before the song's nearly finished, before I pick up the guitar, I go to the piano. I do all my writing in my head. I've got bands in my head. I've got singers in my head. I mean, to give you an example, Any Way You Want It, okay? The lineup I had singing it in my head, standby, was Aretha Franklin singing lead,
Ooh.
right? A black gospel choir backing her, and a black gospel band, Hammond organ, guitar, drums, bass, etc., backing it up. And that version that I have in my head still is better than any Dave Clark or Kiss or any. That version is wonderful. Right, so anyway, getting back to because he had the big glad all over, blah, 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 and I wrote Because, and I called Dave to bring Mike over. Dave brought Mike over to my place, and I played and sung the song to him. Prior to that, I'd sung it to my wife, who liked it, but she liked another song I wrote more called Sometimes. You have to sort that one out. Oliver Reed recorded that, by the way.
Whoa, nice one.
Yeah, and he had A-side. That was A-side. It didn't get in the charts. But anyway, I brought it over and played it. Mike loved it. Dave was very disappointed. He said, well, that's not a Dave Clark song. It's a ballad. I said, yes, but you do run the risk of being a one-trick pony, of getting the same kind of thing going. I said, the beauty about this, because, apart from I think it's quite a good song, is that it's different to what you've been doing. It's entirely different. As Americans say, it's right out of left field. It's going to be the last thing the American people and the British people expect you to bring out, a ballad. I'm still not convinced, he said. I said, and another thing, I like the song. Although I wrote it, I said, I always write for the American market because that's the biggest market. I said, I think that because we'll be liked by the kids who, mums and dads who like the Dave Clark 5, where they wouldn't go and buy Glad all over, I think they'd buy Because.
And 1 million of them did.
Yeah, I said, I think you can have a new market on this. He said, well, I'm not convinced, Ron. I said, well, I think so. You've got a brand new market. Same different. I said, and it's a good song, if I say so myself. And he said, no, it's a B-side or an album filler. And I called him a very naughty word. Mick looked down at his feet. He wouldn't join in because what Dave Clark said was law, because he had them all under contract. They had to do what he dressed like he said they dressed, talk like. If you see interviews with Dave Clark 5, guess who does all the talking?
Oh, I know.
Say no more.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Because saw the light of day, first of all, as a B-side, much to my disgust. Right, and the next song you said was Thinking of You, Baby?
Yep.
What used to happen, as I said before, Dave used to bring Mike over to my place. I would play and sing, either on the piano and sing or with my guitar and sing the song I'd written. Dave would say, okay, or I don't like it. He used every one of my songs, by the way. He didn't turn any down. and he would then leave. Mike alone with me, because he wasn't very musical at all, and he said it was boring listening to us getting the song transposed. He would go away shopping or something for a couple of hours. Then Mike and I would sit down at my piano, because I write most things in the key of C, because as you can hear, I've got a bass baritone voice. Yep. Mike is more of a tenor. So I would write every song more or less in C to suit my voice. So because it was written in C, I transposed it to F with the piano player in my band, and also into G, because I thought one of those keys would be all right. So Mike and I sat down, and I played it to him in F, and it was a bit too low. Played it to the G, just right. That took, 20 minutes, tops. So he had all the, I give him the lyrics, he's got the song down, he's happy, and Dave wasn't due back for another couple of hours, so we used to jam on my piano. I used to play the left hand, and Mike used to play the right. And we used to sing, not Dave Clark songs, we used to sing our favourite songs like, he liked Blueberry Hill.
Fats Domino.
Loved Jerry. Yeah, loved Jerry Lee Lewis. And he loved that High School Confidential. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
Yeah.
Open up a honey, it's a lover boy, and me, that's a knocking. Bum, bum, bum. I used to love that one, whole lot of shaking, of course.
Yeah.
And we used to jam. But before we jammed, I used to start what I called a warm-up song on the bass side of the piano. And I wrote a song around Muddy Waters, because I love blues as well. I wrote a song around Muddy Waters. I got my mojo working. Okay? And I made up words. And Mick used to sing along to my words. And when we finished doing that, then we go into well-known songs. But by the time we'd done this a few times, I'd actually written Thinking of Your Baby. And that's how it all came about.
Insane. I mean, when you hear this now in history, do you realize that you are part of history? You're part of the British invasion. I want to interrupt you before you answer that, because we are WFMU Rock and Soul Radio. It's Atlantic Tunnel. It's a special show, as you can see, but we have our interview going on here with Ron Ryan, who wrote several songs for the Dave Clark Five and has given us some really in-depth insights. So I want to play just one song. I just want to give people a little taste of music, another song you wrote, if you don't mind, Ron. Would you mind?
You go ahead, mate.
Cheers.
Can I trust you?
Can I Trust You? Dave Clark 5 from Return, 1964. And Ron's going to tell us about that song right now.
Right. What happened was Dave was doing, I think it came out on an LP, a long player, if I'm correct.
It was, that's right? Correct. It was on Return, 1964.
Dave phoned me up, like on a Wednesday or in the week sometime, early in the morning, and said, help. I said, what's wrong? He said, we would need one more song for the LP, and we're recording it this afternoon. I need it now. I said, well, you come round in the next 2 hours and it'll be ready. He said, really? I said, yeah. So I sat down at my piano, and I'd seen the Everly Brothers live, and I've always wanted to do a song in the Everly Brothers style. So I started a chord progression, and then I thought, well, the Everly Brothers could do this, and it was written in under an hour, by the way, including all the words, the music, and the arrangement. And it's a kind of my tip in my hat to the Everly Brothers. I think if you listen to it again, you can imagine probably the Everly Brothers singing it.
It's got that style. Absolutely. It
That's
absolutely
it. So what happened was Dave come round, I played it to him, Mike loved it, he said, oh, it's nice and simple. And I said, I've written the harmonies here, it's the third above. You get Lenny or Dennis to sing a third above. And I said, you get that kind of Everly Brothers sound. And it was recorded that afternoon. That was done.
It's amazing how people used to work back then. It really is.
You're going to talk about any way you want it. Oh,
yes.
Here's a scoop for you.
All right.
Back in those days, I knew the Kinks. They were under the same management as I was with another band I had called the Riot Squad. My drummer, by the way, was a guy called Mitch Mitchell, who later played with, say no more.
Was Riot Squad also one point with David Bowie?
Oh, yeah, David, when I left my own group, because I couldn't get on with Mitch Mitchell, I nearly strangled a little whatever. No, he begged me for the job. He was too young to go professional, really. I think he was only about 17.
Right.
And he was too young to join a professional band, and he begged me for the job in the band. I had the Riot Squad, because we had a record out any time. And within 3 weeks, he was trying to take the band over.
There are those types. We all know.
Yeah, and I nearly strangled him twice, I tell you. The band had to pull me off of him. Obnoxious. But the best drummer in the UK at that time.
He really
undoubtedly.
Was. Yeah. Now,
right.
I have to ask you one more. I've got to go back to one. The Riot Squad, during the period of time where David Bowie was involved with them, were you involved with Bowie at all?
No. I left. David Bowie took my place.
Oh, he took your place. What a way to go up in the world, huh?
I don't know what happened to him, but he took my place.
Yeah,
but get back to it any way you want it.
Go.
I knew Ray Davies and the Kinks because we, both songwriters, and Mitch Murray and a few others songwriters, and we were always trying to get a song past the censors, because in them days the censors would jump on anything that what wasn't wholesome and morally right. I'll give you a good example. There's an American song, I think Frankie Lane sung it. Answer me, oh my Lord, Lord, just what sin have I been guilty of? Does that ring a bell?
Yes, it does.
Okay, that was banned in this country because it was blasphemous, they said. They had to rewrite it, and instead of answer me, oh my Lord, what sin have I been guilty of, it was rewritten, answer me, oh my love.
Of course.
Oh, what sin have I been guilty of?
You could not mention God in the radio.
You mustn't mention God.
No,
I mean, when Beach Boys done God Only Knows,
yes.
There was a bit of a flap
breakthrough.
over here.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Any way you want it.
We were trying to get things past the censors. There was a book called the Kama Sutra.
Heard of it.
Ring a bell?
Yes, it does.
It was banned in this country. And I said to Ray Davies, I've just written a song that is about the Kama Sutra, because it was banned and then it got released. And any way you want it is a sexual song. It was inspired by... that was my getting past the censors.
You've just told a teenager what he wanted to know when he was like 12.
Yeah. You see, and the thing is, nobody fell into that. You
got away with it.
And I got away with it. Dave didn't ask what it was. Nobody has ever asked what the song was about. Dave didn't ask about. They took it at face value.
Well, in face value, you don't dig any deeper. But that's what makes a great song.
That's where it all comes from.
Now I have to intercede here because we have a limited amount of time. So I wanted.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Okay.
And we want to talk about your new album too. But before we do, I'm going to ask you a couple of little more touchy questions. How did you get paid royalties for these songs?
No.
Did you have a written agreement?
No.
So
we had an handshake.
Okay.
I was going to get 50% of my own songs. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the thing was, he had a very good band, and the way I looked at it, I'm not a greedy man. I looked at it as Dave was a friend. He gets 50% because he's got the band, okay. He gets 50% of the song, and I get 50% of the song. Then his ego started going crazy when he started when the band was getting famous and big in America. His ego just went out the window. And he said, and from now on, it won't be Clark and Ryan like it was, it'll be Clark and Smith. Okay? And I said, no, I don't agree with that. He said, well, you haven't had any money so far, and if you want any money, okay? He said, if you want any money, you'll agree to it. So I said to my wife, I don't like it, but I'll take it on, okay? 50% of something is better 100% of nothing, if you like. I didn't like it because it ruined me as a songwriter because nobody knows I'm writing these songs, you see, that are selling millions.
The rumors are just circulating now, it's 55, 60 years later. But let me ask you a question. Did you at some point stop writing songs for Dave Clark? Because in the initial early days...
The last song I wrote
right.
Was Any Way You Want It. By that time, before it was released, I had gone to see a solicitor because I had my band, the Walkers. I used to practice the songs before I give them to Dave Clark. Practice them with them or get the pianist to transpose into different keys for Mike Smith.
Right.
So they knew the story about that, and they were willing to go to court and stand up in court and say, no, he wrote these songs. We heard them before that Dave Clark did, which was true. And but as I say, it got knocked on the head, as you say.
So let me ask you this. So from that period of time to more recent, have you still been writing songs? Have you had successes?
Oh, my Lord, yes.
Please.
Getting back to that Dave Clark thing,
okay.
Any Way You Want It, about that time, an English newspaper wanted me to do an interview with them. They offered me £2,000. Now, in them days, you could buy a house in London for £2,000. I hadn't had a penny in royalties. I was really broke. And £2,000 would have been marvellous. And it helped my court case. But they wanted to know things about Dave Clark's private life, shall we say.
Yes, yeah.
That was to go with my story. If I didn't delve into that, they wouldn't, the £2,000 wouldn't be forthcoming. And although I've got, I don't like the way Dave treated me and all that, but I don't like things like that. I think anybody's private life belongs to them. It don't belong to anybody else. It's got no business to be put on the papers. And not only that, if I'd have said what I know about Dave, the band would have instantly been finished in America.
Especially back then.
Yeah. Dave would have been arrested.
Yes. Yeah.
Over here. He'd have finished the band. The band were on a wage. Oh, I'll tell you this very quickly. Rick, the bass player, used to play rhythm guitar. And when they had Glad all over on the charts, he phoned me up and he said, I'm selling my guitar, Ron, because I'm on bass now. Do you want to buy it? I've been to the music shop and they offer me peanuts for it. And I said, yeah, it's a good guitar. And I asked him how much he wanted. It was a fair price. And he bought it round and I bought his guitar from him. Nice guitar. The price was right. But I said, I can't understand you selling it. It must have a bit of sentimental value because you used to play it in the original Dave Clark 5 before they were famous. He said, yes, but we're on a wage. I said, but the band's only thousands. He said, yeah, but we're on a wage. He told me what that wage was, and he had some bills, and that's why he was selling his guitar.
Amazing. Amazing. You know, it's not that dissimilar. I had interviewed one of Hermits, one of their guitarists, and the story was not that dissimilar to what you're telling me. But they were under contract with Alan Klein. So you can imagine another character like that.
Oh.
Yeah. But you know what? We only have a limited amount of time. So I want to talk about your album. All right. So let me do a couple of things here. I'm going to tell you who we are. We are Atlantic Tunnel. My name is Edward Rogers. We have our guest host with us today, Ron Ryan. And we've been talking about the Dave Clark 5 here on WFMU Rock and Soul Radio. And we're going to hear some tracks by Ron Ryan for you right now.
So you made up your mind and you're going. I would try to stop you if I could, but you are a very stubborn man, and I know my talking wouldn't do me good. Yes, I'll walk you down to the station. Yes, I'll see you safely on the train, but I won't promise you my heart won't break at the thought of never seeing you again. Don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me I'd be better off without you. Don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me, don't ease my pain. Just tell me, just tell me how I can't go on living with the thought of never seeing you again. Well, you're the kind of guy who loves his freedom, and having me alone would tie you down. So I'm leaving here today for both our sakes. I'm leaving the only love I've ever found. Yes, I know you love me, and I love you too. And my leaving here today will always be. But just like you, I have to learn to live with the thought of never seeing you again. Don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me I'd be better off without you. Don't tell me, it shines for you and me with a flame so bright, even the blind can see it will guide you home through the darkest night if you follow the light. And if you lose your way, should you stumble and fall, don't despair, I am there by your side. You will not be alone in your darkest hour. Trust in me, I will be your light. There's a light that shines, and it shines eternally with a flame so bright for all the world to see. And if you lose your way in your darkest hour, trust in me, I will be your light. Trust in me, I will be your light.
It's Atlantic Tunnel. It's WFMU Rock and Soul. I'm your host, Edward Rogers, with my special guest, and man, this guy can chat, let me tell you, Ron Ryan. And this has a new album out on Think Like a Key, and the band is called The Hootenanny, and the songs of Ron Ryan, and the tracks we heard is The Thought of Never Seeing You Again and The Light. Could you tell us about them, sir?
Yeah, sure. Actually, the thought of never seeing you again in the 80s, because it goes back to the 80s, that song, I wrote it in the 80s. I had a kind of a Johnny Cash type band, country band. And a lot of people, when we'd done shows, actually thought it was a Johnny Cash song they'd never heard before. And it was very Johnny Cash. When Hootenannies got hold of it, the girl singer took it to another level. I mean, it's outstanding. It knocks the version I done into a cocktail. The singing's outstanding.
But you sing on the second song. You sing on The Light.
Oh, yeah. But on The Light, they wanted to come down from Leeds, which is about 80 miles away from me, set up some recording gear in my house and do it. And I said, well, quite frankly, that's not economic and it's logical. The best thing to do is you do the backing track in Leeds, email it down to a studio near me. I go into the studio, I record the vocals on top of your backing track, and the studio will send it back to you, and that's what we did.
I'll tell you, it has a great feel of a late 50s, early 60s album, the entire album. It's just really, really special. Now,
no, they've done a marvelous job.
Yeah, you really did. Let me, because we're running short of time, I want to promote a couple of things for you. You have a book coming out in a month or so, and what is that called, sir?
Believe it or not, it's called Crash, Bang, Wallop, My Life in Music. I've got a very good memory.
You do.
My first memory.
You do.
My first memory, okay, is laying in my cot, 18 months, 2 years old,
right,
hearing the drone of German bombers. Now, German bombers had four engines. 4 engines or 2 engines, and they run them out of sync. The British and I think the Americans run them in sync. So they had a wow, 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 wow sound. I can remember German bombers coming over. I can remember the bombs whistling down. I can remember the bombs exploding. I can remember the house shaking.
Can I ask you, how old are you, sir?
82.
You are amazing. I must say that part of the interview that we have not been able to put on air has been the most fascinating stories, which I would love to, but, we've got to, maybe some of them are in the book, okay? Now, you're also working on a new album, are you not?
Yeah, I've just finished an album with a friend of mine, Cliff Dusty Hitchcock. I nicknamed him Dusty because his family comes from the Dust Bowl area.
Got it.
He's a great friend of mine, and internet friend, if you like. He's been covering my songs for about 10 years. And I said it'd be a good idea if you, instead of covering my songs, done an album that you could leave to your family in years to come, and of original songs about the Dust Bowl area, because that's where your family come from. That's your roots. And he said, I wouldn't know how to start it. So I wrote a song to start it, and that set the mood. He wrote some other songs, and he was stuck for one in the middle, and I wrote that. Then he was stuck for one at the end, and I wrote that. And he wanted to call it My Life and Times or something like that in the Dust Bowl. And I said, no, that's too long. I said, the whole album is about one thing and one thing only, dust. Dust made people move from Oklahoma to California. Dust, and that's what it's called.
There you go.
It's out now.
Now
and we just started on volume 2.
I have a minute or two left. So first off, I want to say who you are, Ron Ryan, who has been a singer songwriter, and check out the Riot Squad. There's some really cool things there too, and. You've been an amazing interview. I'm going to drop one last question on you. Tell us something about Dave Clark. How did you find him? Tell us something we don't know about Dave Clark.
Not really.
All right. But let me ask you this, because I want to get this on.
Let me say this. Let me say this.
All right.
He's ripped me off for about $1 million, I should imagine, over the years.
Uh-huh.
But I don't hate him.
Okay. That's a nice way.
I do not hate anybody, because hate is a very negative thing.
But you did get a settlement at the end of some sort.
I did get, partial, peanuts.
Yeah. But, peanuts. At some points you've got to kind of say, look, I can't fight the world, Yeah,
but I mean, quite honestly, I've led a good life. I'm not dead yet. You certainly have. But, I've led a good, and the good thing is, as I found out in my book, when they talked about, people who knew me, they all said more or less the same thing. I'm fair. I mean, when I had my bands, if there was a pound note, we split it 4 or 5 ways.
That's the only way to do it. If you feel good about yourself.
I've always tried to treat people as I like to be treated myself. Oh. And all right, so with Dave Clark, I got knocked to the floor. But the thing is, it's not how you get knocked to the floor. It's how you get up and dust yourself off.
Yes. Sir, I want to thank you for being on this show. This is an amazing interview, which is going to